Getting back out here and just stepping foot on a baseball field was so refreshing.
Having gone from 0 home games the year before to 60 felt like a big jump, but something we were very excited to do. Leading up to the 2021 season felt a lot like the hurry up and wait kind of thing. Like, we're all anticipating, we're going to play, we are excited to see a schedule.
We were excited to be part of kind of the chapter after COVID and kind of, you know, getting people slowly back out into the community and around people again and around strangers again, and part of the healing process, I guess, of 2020.
At this point, we're aware that, you know, we've become a full season team.
Hillsboro being a short season, I mean, come on, dude, that's it. That's the greatest setup you can have for a short season. And then you get a year off and then you come back and that's your full season.
As opposed to our 38 traditional home games, that year we were going to have 60.
Finally making that move to full season, it was definitely a change. I mean, starting in May that year and now April.
Basically like a week on, a week off, week on, a week off, with the team being on the road, you know, during those off weeks.
The reason we're all in sports is for the game experience. That's what we sell, that's what we love, that's what we plan. So to have more games, it just makes it even more fun to work in sports.
I have with staffing, the biggest change with full season was like, wow, we play early in the a lot earlier when we're used to having no problem staffing our games. Usually we have to turn people away every summer with our hospitality team. That was not the case in 2021.
When we were a short season organization, the games would typically begin in mid to late June and then wrap up in the first or second week of September. What is that? That's essentially the best weather of the year in Oregon, right? And that's a time when people are expecting to be outside.
We don't like to talk about the weather, but it is a significant, noticeable change in what we contend with.
Your marketing and your business plan is adjusted, recognizing that when the weather is really bad, you're not going to have as many people as you might like.
You got to be a real fan to be here in April and May.
The month of May was so cold. I remember this, it was so freezing, and them fans still were out there cheering us on. I was like, they're diehard fans.
We knew there would be some restrictions in terms of, you know, capacity, and there were some limitations. We were wearing, you know, masks and things like that.
We had 3 buses because we had to sit apart from each other, a tent down the right field line where we were supposed to eat outside. We weren't allowed to eat together. Every food was pre-packaged. You know, all the stuff that was just new.
It didn't really matter to me. We had the year off. I didn't really get to do anything that year, the alternate site or instructs or any of that. So I was just happy to be playing baseball again.
Getting through the, you know, the social restrictions that we had and the distancing, we were able to kind of just make it normal.
Opening day 2021, it was May 4th. I will remember that day forever. It's an overwhelming sense of excitement.
3, 2, 1, go!
Opening the gates and cutting the ribbon and really making a proclamation that we're back.
You know they're smiling, like you can only see their eyes, but like, you know, you can tell that people are just so joyous to have this back in their lives.
You know, we were spaced out, you know, within the seating bowl. It was so good, you know, to see the players.
Even just having a 30% capacity stands was super cool to us, especially after the year we had just had. It was just cool to see people get to come to a game, honestly.
We're getting ready for the game, they're announcing the players, whatever, and we get to that national anthem and like, you know, the singer starts singing and it's just such a moment of like, like we're here.
Kind of got the chills of being back, but then on top of that, they did this moment of silence for Mike Bell. And it was honestly, it's one I'd never forget.
We were so relieved to do what we love again and to have a season. We would have worked 90 games and been just fine.
It just began to make it feel like there's a little bit of normalcy.
There's a point where we felt like we made it through.
What also made 2021 special is we had baseball every single day because we also hosted the Vancouver Canadians.
The fact that they couldn't go up to Canada and play, I'm just glad KL and the front office were able to make that work for them. because I think in the end it just made us all happy.
We did buy a couple of t-shirts. Our favorite is the Hillsboro Canadians. Here for a fun time, but only a short time.
For sharing a facility, we never saw them. Like, I know that was part of the protocol back then too, but like, we never saw them. You know, we were on the road a lot, and then they went on the road, but then when we shared the facility, we never saw them. And so it's really, really odd and unique.
Honestly, I really didn't mind it. And there was 1 week, we were home for 2 weeks regularly, and then we played them away, and we were home. So we were 3 weeks at home. It was incredible.
It was fun to come to Canadians games because it's like, it's familiar, but it's a little different. Everybody's wearing red.
So we could go to baseball games any night that we wanted, every night that we wanted.
And then we kind of got into like the summertime, and that was like wild because it was truly back to like, it felt like nothing had ever happened. 4th of July was sold out, 5,000 people.
There was speculation that the state government wasn't going to let us have that many people.
Luckily, we were able to. A few days before that, we were given the green light to, you know, open up to 100% capacity, right? And we did.
And I remember we played well. I think we won. It was like the perfect day. We had a picnic, food was good. We came out, played well. We had a great crowd, and it was like, that's when guys were like, oh my God, this feels like how it should be, right?
Those fans in Hillsboro love the Hops, and they show out.
Because I kept hearing all year, man, you guys just haven't seen the real Hillsboro because we were limited with capacity going into the beginning of the year.
Just from a psyche standpoint, from a mentality standpoint, to see a crowd, a large crowd, back together and primarily maskless at that point.
COVID was down, people were happy. People were out. That was the moment for me where I was like, oh man, we did this. Like, we got through all of this.
4th of July was amazing, man. It was one of the best days of that year.
What that did for us at that time was just invaluable. Jumping from the short season level to the high A level where we're at now, like the level of talent is noticeably better.
And we had, you know, some of the best arms I'd ever seen, all stacked up on top of each other, and my job was to literally not screw them up.
I know how good they are, and because I faced them in spring training. I know what their stuff does, and they had lights out stuff, all that pitching staff.
Baseball wise, you just go out there and you have some things for them sometimes, but you just try to keep them moving in the right direction and know that there's going to be some failure, some lumps taken along the way, but they're going to be okay because they're super talented.
All of those other guys that I was playing with in 2019 were also kind of making the jump to high A. We all took a year off, and then everybody came back.
I was excited to be in that it was high A now, and that I wasn't going backwards in my career, I was going forwards.
It was almost like we just picked up right where we left off in the same place.
We had to remind them, like, hey, even though we didn't play last year, you kind of jumped 2 levels. And that was honestly an adjustment for those guys because the teams didn't change, the uniforms didn't change, but the talent level did.
We had some players come through the league, such as Julio Rodriguez, who won Rookie of the Year this year in the Major League.
And this big dude comes over with a bat and says, hey, how's it going? It's like, whoa, that's Julio Rodriguez. But he's just a kid. And then we just, hey, welcome to the professionals, man. Have a great game, but don't have too great a game. And he just kind of laughed at us.
Corbin Carroll, that's another guy. He's now in the big leagues.
I tell people all the time that was when I watched him play that year, even though it was a super short amount of time, I was like, this guy's the real deal. Like, I think he hit like 12 homers in a week. It felt like it was insane.
Making his long-awaited first professional outing. Almost 2 years ago. Line drive toward right. Rodriguez coming in. It gets past him and heads all the way out to the fence. Like a blur around second base comes Corbin Carroll, heading to third, being waved home by Harrison. Here he comes. The throw gets away, back into the infield, and Carroll scores.
Carroll hits it in the air. That's got some carry. Backing up on it, Hoover to the fence. See you on the other side. Corbin Carroll. On his Carroll, he's back to the track, to the wall. He leaps and makes the catch, crashing into the center field fence. Corbin Carroll with a spectacular play.
He had the best eye of any player I'd ever seen, at any level, any age.
Talk special, like the dude pulled his shoulder out of his socket on a home run that went up the net in right field.
There's a deep drive to right field, ain't no doubt about it. It is gone, halfway up the net.
I remember when he hit it, seeing him out the corner of my eye, and he didn't run. And I'm like, you know, that's not like Corbin, the pimp a homer. But then he got to third, and we had a little celebration where he just did this big round flip, you know, handshake, and he did it. And I was like, okay. And then I come in after we make the third out, and Shane was looking at me like this, like, hey, you might want to take a look at Corbin. I think we need to get him out. And I looked at Corbin, and I said, how you feel? He's like, oh, I'm okay, BA. I'm like, Corbin, you're out, buddy. I am not. We are not about to risk you for this Hillsboro Hops game when you're destined for Arizona Diamondbacks. You know, we found out right away it was going to be season ending. And so I think the guys initially, it was tough because we knew we were losing a really, really good player. But it gave some other guys some opportunity and forced some guys to kind of grow up faster than they wanted to.
Swung on, there's a deep drive to right field. Way back, no doubt about it. It is gone. Dominic Canzone, 2/3 of the way up the net.
Corbin, University of Alabama catching out. It was right down the right field line. Base hit for Barossa down the extra bases. There's a deep drive down the left field line. Home run distance if it's fair, and it is gone like the cool breeze. Blaze Alexander with his 6th home run of the season.
Realistically, if you're seeing some talented players at Ron Tonkin Field, you should expect them to be in the big leagues within the next 12 to 18 months.
Seeing these guys when we were younger and slowly get better. Every here and there get better and better and better.
When you see the teams that are good in the big leagues, you know, a lot of them come up through the minors together. You look at the Braves, a lot of those guys are like that. And I hope that's where the Diamondbacks are.
Walstons and the Fotts and the Dre Jamesons and Brian Nelson, and I mean, the list goes on. Slade, Jarvis, like we're relying on those guys now and for years to come.
For the month and a half, 2 months that I was in Hillsboro really set me up for the rest of that year, and also years moving forward. Like some of the stuff that we worked on, I still work on today. And
those are some of the first guys that I had my hands on that touched the major leagues, so they're all very special to me. That season didn't quite go how we had envisioned, but to say that it was a failure, absolutely not, because we produced players. We got guys better. We got guys promoted. Joe, you're going to AA.
Seeing the guys go from just getting back to playing baseball to, like, you know, now we're in it full time, getting guys promoted.
Now how about this itinerary to AA, baby?
Yeah! The goal is always to move up. If Hillsboro ever becomes a AAA affiliate, then and I can go back there, I'll go back there in a heartbeat.
Everybody has dreams, you know, things they want to accomplish in their life. I've worked so hard on the baseball field, you know, to try to capture my dream. Thankfully, you know, I did what I needed to do to, you know, be in the position I am today.
Fly ball, Buddy Kennedy, a grand slam!
Those 2019-2020 drafts were very important for our organization. You know, we got a lot of good arms and pieces that we thought would help the Major League team win, which are helping the Major League team win now.
Every time Corbin or Alex in the box, I'm like, oh, you know, I'm swinging with them.
High fly ball, deep right field, and that one sails on out of here. Long home run, Corbin Carroll. It's a one-run ball game. It's 3-2.
You know, Fox pitching, I'm like, you know, break that slider off.
Swing and a miss. He struck him out, and the inning is over. He gave the Diamondbacks exactly what they were looking for in this Game 7.
Yeah, man, it's cool, man.
A lot of us have cracked the big league level and have been playing there. We've been friends for 3-4 years, and we've been going through this all together.
They're built to be there for a while, and, you know, I'm excited to see what they do, man, because, you know, seeing them in Hillsboro and then seeing them in Arizona, you see the growth and little things that they got better at.
It's cool nonetheless to be part of an organization and hopefully have some records that will never be broken there.
Hillsboro, you know, being a stop for all, not just me, but for all of us that played there, like, it's a special stop in our career. And all the fans, you know, are amazing. The town of Hillsboro is amazing.
Hillsboro will always hold a special place in my heart just because of how much time I spent there and the years I was there.
To be able to follow them on their journey is just a really cool thing for us. We obviously wish all of our players could make it onto the Diamondbacks and be successful there. There's only so many roster spots, and so we cheer for these guys wherever they go. You know, there's an expression, once a hop, always a hop.
One of the important components of a social infrastructure is people gathering together. People traditionally have done that in libraries and parks, work, churches, but especially in sporting events.
2020 was hard for a lot of people. You know, it wasn't just our organization, obviously. So to see people coming out and having fun again, opening night, but also throughout the season.
Got to really feel like everything that we went through in 2020 was worth it, or at least was starting to be worth it.
It gives people a great opportunity just to get together, to renew ties, to make friendships and relationships.
Looking back, it's always about the relationships, man. And it's like you spend every day and then the season ends and it's like quick hug and we're out. And it's almost like grown men are holding back tears because we just spent 5 or 6 months together.
That sense of community, it cannot be overstated in terms of how important it is.
Every hit was celebrated. Every time we got to be together, we celebrated it because we never thought it would be taken away before, and it was. So we didn't take for granted anything.